You got that
Everybody can go. Everybody can go. Everybody can go.
Oh, hey guys, hey, and welcome to the Everybody Can't Go podcast here for your Be About It journey. I am your host, Whiskey, and I'm here with my co-host, Lou. What it do?
What's happening? What's going on?
What's
How you
good?
feeling?
We missed you, buddy.
I know. It's a lot. Life is really kicking ass right now. It really is. Life is really kicking right now.
This
Not
is
not as
relatable content.
eh, yeah, and not to like make my situation where I'm I'm worse than anybody. You know what I'm saying? There are so many people that are so much worse than me, so I won't complain on that type of note. But it's just just a little dark right now. So
Yeah. So you
yeah,
can complain. Like I understand that the thing I think we're having difficulty with in this time in the world is holding space for all of these emotions and having empathy for other people's situations, but also being like, my situation sucks for me as well. And that's okay, especially when it comes to spiritual warfare being so specific. So I'm sure whatever you're going through is probably specific to your current like issues, demons, recurring I guess strongholds. So it's valid to be like, this sucks for me. I hate this for me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It
Yeah.
just kind of had like that, that recluse feeling where I just want to, to just shut down from everything and everybody, just do my 1, 2 and
Yeah.
be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Yeah.
just, yeah, yeah.
I understand. This is interesting. I actually had a conversation with my therapist about this today. And I always think about Elijah in the Bible, where, Jezebel was going after the prophets and he went crazy essentially. He ran away from her, afraid she was gonna kill him. And basically, the angel had to come and like sit him down and feed him and be like, "You got to chill. Like you're really tripping right now. You got the power of God behind you. You acting like a little punk." Summarized. But the thing from that I always learn from that story is that Elijah did not go back out and put himself before Jezebel and fight in the same way or show up as a prophet the same way. He literally sat down after that and started training his replacement. And I kind of identify with that. I feel like, on the one hand, being an artist and out there and front facing and in the trenches is the calling. But I don't know if I'm wired for it. I've been talking to my therapist and I'm just like, she's talking to me about, like, oh, yeah, you're just going to run into a lot of narcissistic, like really terrible people. And I was just like, I don't think I can do this. It makes me want to run away into the woods and just
Yeah.
give up on everything. And I'm like, is that really beneficial to humanity? Is that really healing if you're not being around people and implementing what it is to do the walk of being a good person? Um, I don't know. I don't know if we get to run away or what it looks
Mm.
like to stay in the fight.
And see that's a piece that I struggle with as well. But I think uh on the backside of it is that I spent a whole lot of time being peoply that led me to being the person that I was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just a lot of times being peoply just makes me feel like, you know what I'm saying, like I'm not even going back to being that person that I was, but being peoply with people is what had me out there anyway. And I'm so
Yeah.
different, you know what I'm saying? I'm so just, you know what I'm saying, just so far removed from that.
Yeah.
It's hard to be, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to be peoply or even want to be with those, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, a lot of the same people and stuff.
It's
So
hard to see people through this lens,
yeah,
to understand why people are the way they are, to understand what it is that they want from you, and when you're not giving that anymore, and then to go around people and be aware of these dynamics and still operate authentically. I'm done. Like my nervous system is still tripped from being around people, just absorbing all of that energy. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a struggle. I feel you that life is kicking butt right now. Um,
yeah,
my yeah, I'm going through it. My spirit is very heavy, and I'm still in the thick of grief, and it's difficult not having the kind of emotional support that I need, that I know would replenish me. And it's hard to like still always dig from that innate place of grit and be like, oh, the Holy Spirit and God is keeping me through. And no, I just need to cry and hug on somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's very difficult. So I'm just kind of feeling like that. The lack of community. And I'm really excited for today's episode. I got really excited about this conversation this morning because I think we all see that the revolution now is not about bodies in the streets and protesting, because that kind of does nothing when, people are out for blood. So I think that we all see that we need to build community and rally around and find safe spaces that we can kind of collectively draw resources and give resources. But I don't know how we're going to do this with like, with the people we have created. And so I think that the focus should be on like what it looks like to build community. So today we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. And I think that's the key of what we need, to kind of build the way we want. And the problem that I'm having is like lack of emotional support. And I feel like the friendships that I've created around me don't really attune to me in that way. And it's been difficult. So I'm hoping that those of us who are feeling like life kicking our butt, that we start to rally around each other a little bit more, because it's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah, you know.
Is there a scripture that's been getting you through?
Not one that just stands totally stands out. Um, a lot of the daily devotions that I read every day, not even
Yeah.
just particular scripture, just a lot of the devotionals that I read daily. You know, what I'm saying, it's a lot of those that just get me through. Those are very uplifting, and especially, you know, what I'm saying, like eyes on that first thing in the morning before starting the day. But you know, what I'm saying, as the day
Yeah.
goes on and the day end and the day comes to an end, and like after a work day, you just like world off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just
Yeah.
turn the world off, man.
Yeah. I
World.
wish I wish we could for real, but apparently we're here, so there's purpose in it.
Yeah.
I would I think the story of the wheat and the tares, and I'll put the scripture in the description or whatever, and people can look it up. But basically, we're in a season where it just feels like a waiting season of like you have to let evil grow at the same time as goodness before you can determine what is good or bad. And I think that's what I'm struggling with, is that in building community and getting things off the ground, grassroots, there are going to be some really shisty, terrible people that come into orbit who may do a great thing for you and move you ahead, but they also might take a lot out of you or have only come to siphon. And then there will be good people who jump onto the purpose and really make it pop. And just knowing that I'm going to have to be able to navigate both the wheat and the tares, I don't want to do it. But we're about to learn some tools for how to navigate our relationships with people better. And I'm so excited to talk to our guest who's backstage, and we're ready to bring him up. And y'all all clap it up if you're watching, even if you're watching the replay, give us the energy because he deserves. Our guest today is an author. He is an artist. I met him at a hip hop show. But the main reason we wanted to talk to him is because he's an author of a workbook that talks about emotional intelligence. So we're super glad to have him. Superficial. What it do?
Yeah. Good
It
evening.
was
Thank you
good.
for
It
having
was good, brother. It was good.
me. What's up, child?
Yeah, it's good to see you. I met you at the Pass the Ox show in DC, right on U Street. I had no idea. That's some young stuff, right? I literally, it's like this young, where all the, hip, cool people are. And I walked in with my African pants. I was there to support my friend. She actually produced my spoken word album a couple years ago. And I met you. I saw you do your set, and they did these really cool interviews after. And you spoke on the fact that you wrote a book about emotional intelligence, and I was pressed. I knew we had to have you on the podcast, so I want to talk about first of all, your artistry, since that's how I met you. Tell us more about your genre of music, what you write about, all those things.
Cool, cool. Thank you. Once again, it was a pleasure meeting you, and I really appreciate the support and just
Of
hearing
course.
me out because every time I perform, it's an opportunity to talk about my mission. And I think
Yeah.
my mission speaks to the art that I make, the music that I make, but ultimately, my artistry comes from a place of I've been doing music for a really long time. My pops was in the band, um, and it's been it's a big part of our life. Like it's been a way of life for real, for real. Um, and the music I create is an extension.
Oh, wow.
Um, it's grounded in motivation. It's grounded
Hmm.
in wellness, and it's grounded in deeper thinking. Hence the name superficial. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's kind of satirical in the fact that my art is more than what meets the eye. So superficially, you might see like yeah, a lot of people make music, a lot of people rap. I don't look at myself as an ordinary artist, and my music reaches deeper into the psyche than you might initially think. So I love to catch people off guard with that. So my music focuses on mental wellness. Once again, I'm really big on pushing that mental health aspect because music is a tool and a means of, it's a universal language, so it's a means of getting that message out there. I think the great thing about music is that it's therapeutic to make it, but you don't know who out there can get therapy from listening to your music or from the art that you create. So I just hope to, create something that leaves an impression with people, but also has a deeper message that they can enjoy at the same time.
Yeah, I like this.
Mhm. Mhm.
Lou, you shouldn't have thrown away
And
your DJ equipment. It's plenty of positive songs
so,
we can pop.
man, so when making your music, I hear you say that it's a lot of therapy. It does a lot of therapy for you. So how do you correlate with your music and like is being a musician and being an author? Do you correlate the two, or is it kind of like separated? For me, for you,
Um,
just for yourself.
for myself, I think that there are two different types of creation. I feel like I feel like in a sense they're both trying to get a message across or get the audience to feel something. So
Right,
with creating music versus writing books, these are things I talk about, the things that I'm very passionate about. So what I speak about in my music is definitely correlates with what I talk about in the books because the mental aspect, especially the books, like what I've been through, that affects the art that I make, and
right,
vice versa.
Yeah.
right, right.
I think that at the same time, the art that I make, it can also be tools for people. Like it can be a message that might help a person get through the day, might motivate them. or it can be just tools that I talk about in the books that I've learned. So
Yeah.
that's the basis of talking about emotional intelligence, because I've worked in the mental health field for over 12 years, and I've seen a lot of different things, been in a lot of different situations, and also in my personal life, um, I definitely feel like God has been preparing me, and He's been giving me these tools that have worked for me, and I just want to share them with the world. I'm just excited
Yeah.
to share with the world. So, however the form, whatever the format is, whether it's through a song, through a book, through a performance, through visual art, animation, whatever it is, I feel like there's so many different ways to program in a positive way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Before we get deep into the talk, because I want to get deep about emotional intelligence, how do you guard yourself as a triple threat? I think that one of the things I've learned kind of I guess adding spirituality, adding God to my artist life is realizing how people react when you have a lot of gift to give, and there are the beautiful people you come across who help you leverage it and who are there to help you on the path. But there's a lot of spiritual warfare that comes with doing this. What are your kind of practices or things that you do to keep your head in the game?
Um, I pray for I pray for discernment to
Yeah,
understand and to see and have the wisdom to know what's good for me, and what's not for me. But
yeah,
also, I focus a lot on like my self work, right? Like how I react to things, especially things I can't control. So the
yeah,
best way that I guard myself is just I treat everyone with grace, right? And not everyone has your best. Um, everyone has your, not everyone
not to
has.
be a negative Nancy. I know I always bring it up, but I
No,
think
no,
it's something that people like to consume the art, but they don't think about what it takes from the artist and the things that now that art has moved into the entertainment space that it hasn't become like a pure space for us. And I always want to address that with artists because I just want to know like how you doing because it's rough.
Mm.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, that's real. I try to make sure that I'm checking in with myself, making sure that I'm aware of myself, building that self awareness, and really working on prioritizing my own peace, so that I can,
Yeah,
stay true to my principles, and not stray from my path. So in that, I think that it's crucial to learn from past mistakes. When it comes to
hmm,
interacting with different people, different energy, making sure people are respecting my space and my time, because time, time is such a commodity, and sometimes that's all we have. So, I
yeah,
think with creating art and just doing different things, like I try to be in service to people, try to make sure that once again I'm treating everyone with grace, but also not being taken advantage of. So some people will, like you were saying, like they will siphon your energy. They they kind of will want you to be at their beck and call, and not really
yeah,
respect what you have going on, especially if there's like a dynamic, meaning like let's say they have more of a following than you, or they,
yeah,
when egos come into play. I feel like it's good, one, to just practice humility. um
hmm,
I always remind myself, like, all right, I have to be self-aware, like things that I might be upset with other people about, I have to make sure that I'm not doing the same thing myself, or making sure that I'm standing on my principles once again. So I feel like,
Mhm.
yeah, just I think I get wiser every day, but I also
yeah,
have to still, make sure that I'm aware. Make sure that I'm,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lou, do you feel validated? Because I
Yeah.
mean, that's what the that's what the podcast is about, just showing people trying to navigate this every day. And I think we have a lot of surface conversations about it, but that was deep and that's real. You have to have a lot of discernment. You have to guard yourself, but you also have to be open and serving. And when you show up with servant attitude, people are like, "Yeah, come serve." So it's like a two-edged sword. But I want to like let's get into it with the emotional intelligence because it is Men's Mental Health Month. So happy Mental Health Month, y'all.
Thank you, thank you.
So a lot
treating
of I don't know.
you treating
We
this joint
we
like
didn't
Father's Day, bro. You treating each other just like Father's Day.
It's been a struggle. I mean, superficial. We didn't meet on a level where you saw me do my art or what I talk about or whatever. But a lot of it is like the trauma that I've had with men. And recently, I've experienced the loss of my brother and my father, who were protectors in my life. And I've had a complicated relationship with men. And I'm very vocal about it because I think it's something that a lot of women are working through. And a lot of us are just kind of in this. So it's like Men's Mental Health Month. And we'd be like, go to therapy. We've been saying this forever. Y'all not ever going to get this together. So I had to do a lot of softening to even like get ready for this conversation. And I think the thing is, the fear when you talk to men who are in the mental health field and who do this work is that there's the persona one way, and then behind the scenes, it's like, oh, you cheating and terrorizing somebody and all some other stuff. So, and you lack emotional intelligence, or you weaponize emotional intelligence against other people to do your bidding, kind of thing. So I want to kind of hear you talk about what made you think of doing or writing a book. It's a workbook too, which I love because to me that means it's targeted to men because y'all like activities and stuff. So is men your core audience? And what made you think to write a book that addresses emotional intelligence?
And first off, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. Sorry to hear about
Thank
that.
you. I appreciate that.
But my target audience was actually kids. Um,
Really?
make an impression on the youth. But then I realized, so just to give you like a brief, like this is kind of a quick plug too. The first book that I ever wrote was this is the original. This is a black copy, but pretty much it's keep calm and it's emotional intelligence for kids, kids specifically because when I moved to DC about 7 years ago, I worked with students with emotional disturbances, intellectual disabilities, and it's a lot of like severe trauma. And coming
Yeah.
from working in the mental health field in New York, working with adults and at-risk teens, working with students was a unique experience because I felt like they were still impressionable. They weren't at the age where you felt like you couldn't really tell them nothing, and you still, you could still teach them some things that they may not have to learn the hard way with later on. So
Yeah.
the reason why I talked about working with adults is because working with adults of all ranges, it was different speaking with them and interacting with them than dealing with the students when I first moved to DC. So I was inspired to write a book about how students could maybe, be more proactive, right? So they
Yeah.
wouldn't end up in negative situations or end up being a product of their environment. And unfortunately, a lot of the students that I've dealt with, they were affected by factors outside of their control. I mean,
Yeah.
the neighborhoods they stayed, socioeconomic factors, poverty. These are things that we already know. But I felt like I had some tools that I could share with them, so they could manage their emotions. They could thrive in a school environment and be successful despite their circumstances. So
Yeah.
that's what inspired me to write Keep Calm for kids and help them with
Yeah.
coping strategies and deal with like the day-to-day interactions so they could be productive members of society. But I quickly learned that with
We
my
needed to.
we need it just as much, and we adults are pretty much like big kids. You know what I'm saying? Like we're kids that can legally drive and do these things, but we still have the same egos. We still have the same. We getting our feelings.
That's what they say narcissism is. It's the emotional immaturity, and that we're all just kids operating as kids emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that like it made me realize like, dang, like I'm so focused on the students, but we have a lot of parents of these students who are passing on their traumas, they're passing on the habits, the impulses, things that they do onto the students. I was like, this is bigger than the kids. Like it's bigger than molding and trying to teach the kids. Like I need to reteach myself some strategies. I need to reteach myself some things about how to cope with the world, or really just like once again back to that factor of that piece about being self-aware. There's some things I have to
Hmm.
learn about myself and really work on to be the best person I could be, to be a
Oh
better,
yeah.
to be a better husband, to be a better partner, just to be a better friend.
Yeah.
Like there's some things that I had to unpack. So that's what inspired me to write a workbook where you can kind of incorporate the positive aspects of like self reflection, right? I started working in high school a few years ago. So I transitioned from working with middle school kids to working with teens and students getting ready to graduate as a guidance
Mm.
counselor. And I found that when I would ask them to name 5 positive things about themselves, it would be like a struggle. It would be crickets. Like I,
Mm.
it would be like pulling teeth to get them to name one positive thing about themselves. And I was like, this is, you know, these skills can not only build confidence, but they can also help students identify their strengths and their weakness, right? And not saying
Yeah.
Right, right.
like a negative thing, but it's more so like, what do I need to improve on, right? And it would always be a moment of self-reflection when I talk to them, because at first they would treat it like a job interview, like they want to tell me what I want to hear, like, oh, I don't really have a weakness. And I'm like, you know what? Let's put it this way.
I work too hard.
Yeah. So I would put it back on myself, and I'm like, hey, this is something I'm working on, right? And like I would say something simple as, oh, look at my desk right now. This is it could be more organized, right? I'm not the messiest person in the world, but can this be cleaner? Can I work on this? Can I build this?
Yeah.
And they'd be like,
Yeah,
oh, you know what?
it's
I need to work on this. So
just trying to get them to be vulnerable.
exactly, exactly. So
Yeah.
I think that moment of vulnerability, like me, even as a parent, a staff member, as a teacher, an adult or an authority figure, like me letting them know that, hey, like I'm working on these things too.
Yeah.
It's not me
Right.
just talking at you. Like let me know how I can improve. Let me know how I can be better. And I think that
Yeah.
that openness to feedback and once again, like practicing humility and vulnerability, that opens people up, because like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm not the only person with issues. I'm not the only person dealing with problems. Like, let's work on them together instead of everyone, being hypocritical.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I was like doing some research and just a deeper dive into emotional intelligence, and I found I think he's a psychologist did a YouTube video that was like something a sign that you lack emotional intelligence, and he was like listing off bullet points, and one of those was just like you can't receive criticism or hold yourself accountable, and it's that lack of self awareness. And I realized, having kids myself, they learn from what you do. They are 100% influenced, so it's like you have adults everywhere, unself-aware, creating these facades on social media, and we've trickled it down to the kids do the same thing. And now we're kind of operating in a world that's not real. It's just the best parts of people. So it's really difficult to take people back to the, oh, you're not showing up main character. Like, you're messing up a little bit here. And there's always ways that you can tighten up. There's always room to grow, to do better. And that's exhausting work. And I feel like nobody wants to do that, much less children. So blessings to you. Because that's intense. And I know it comes with a lot of warfare, because I feel like the trauma that children go through is the stronghold of Satan trying to get in to block the future of whatever they could be. So getting at the children while they're young and letting them know, like, hey, this is what it is to look at yourself and see yourself and do better, and have that be a personal job for you that has nothing to do with anyone else. I think that's commendable. I think it's super necessary. I think it makes me want to tear up because, women be like, men don't hold themselves accountable or whatever. So we have an example. This is good. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts about that? I know you said you're married. I saw your pictures of the kids and everything. So love this. Love this. Um, what are your thoughts about what's happening with the gender wars or all the divisions that's happening, like politically, that people are just kind of like fighting? Everywhere you see, there's discourse. What are your thoughts about how emotional intelligence can play a larger role in how we're getting along in this climate?
I think our response to situations is so crucial. It's so key the way that we react, because we're living in unpredictable times. I mean, even during COVID, it was a very unpredictable, strange, time to live, right? And this we've always had these moments in history and time, and there's always going to be things or factors outside of our control that affect our emotions. So
Yeah.
when it comes to the conflict and the division that's currently happening within society, within our communities, you know, just just on social media, I think it's so crucial to focus on our reactions and how we respond. And I
Hmm.
think that's why emotional intelligence is so key because the internet feeds off of negativity. It feeds off the negative reactions, anger,
100%.
Mm.
depression, like these strong emotions. Just look at the comment sections on YouTube. Like look at
Look at the bots.
yeah.
Stay woke.
Yeah, it's hard to decipher, what's real, what's not real,
Yeah.
what's targeted, what's triggering. It's overwhelming, and it's um it's easy to the easy thing to do is have the reaction. the easy
Yeah.
the easiest
Ra- yes, the racist spot.
facts. Yeah, we live in
Yeah.
a charged time. Like people are charged by political things. We're charged by so many different things, and it's so easy to create the division and to also live in it. So I
Yeah.
think just for our community and just for um, our future, I feel like it's so key for that positive programming, and the positive programming is like building up those tools of emotional intelligence that can help us react. Because I work in Southeast DC. Um, there's countless times when we've got news about students you know, being victims of gun violence. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it hurts my heart, and sometimes it makes me. It's hard to see the impact of what I do with all the, I would say, energy, right?
Yeah.
Because there's violence in the neighborhoods, there's retaliation, there's a lot of anger, a lot of trauma, and a lot of apathy. And the apathy is
Yeah.
the scariest part because
It's the scariest.
Ooh.
yeah, because it's hard to make a change, it's hard to make impact, it's hard to be open minded if you don't care about anything. If you just simply don't
Yes.
care, if you're simply just tired and you're exhausted, right? And it's no fault of
Yeah.
the people who deal with and experience this, right? You're used to seeing their family members pass away. They're used to um, losing cousins and parents and siblings to violence, right? That stems from
Yeah.
reactions to things, right?
Yeah.
Reactions to conflicts,
Yeah.
reactions to situations, reactions to misinformation, having the wrong perception. Um, these things can all lead to split second decisions that can ultimately, be detrimental to our lives, to our families, and it's a snowball effect. And I think really getting to the root of that is just focusing on, the conflict resolution, how we can walk away from a situation where both sides don't have to
Yeah.
look behind their back, where both sides can coexist in some type of harmony, right? It's not about being on like that kumbaya stuff. It's more so being on how can we actively move forward and build a new mindset, because this
Yeah.
mindset is just it's constantly eating at itself, and it's constantly like um it's a self-destructive mindset. And I feel like the outside perspective, when people look at our people, they look and they say, well, what have y'all done for yourselves? Like, what are y'all doing to uplift yourselves? What are y'all doing to save yourselves, right? And time again, I think about the fact that no one is coming to save us. We have to do something for ourselves so that we can be prepared, right? So that we can flourish. And I feel like from the outside, it's easy to look at our folks and say like, all right, they're going to either destroy themselves, right, and not really help their situation, or they are never going to be on the same page. So I feel like it's
Yeah.
about a collective perspective. Like we all have to see things in a similar way. And I think it starts with our mindset. Like there's no way around it. We have to have a shift, and that
It's,
shift
it,
Yeah.
I feel like is so powerful.
it seems
Yeah.
like it's of course, I mean, we always have the easier said than done mind frame and everything, but it's so hard to even get everybody on that same page when the media and everything that they grasp information from pushes divide.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's, I mean, divide is being pushed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's so hard for to grab, you know what I'm saying, to grab hold of the people who are going through the struggle, the people who are going through the poverty and
Mhm.
things, you know what I'm saying, the things of that nature, for them to, you know what I'm saying, to see that there's another way.
Yeah,
Because you know what I'm saying, you got the world telling you one thing and telling you this is how you make it and everything is glorified. And you know what I'm saying, but you go outside and it's not there. So what do you do? And you know what I'm saying, it forces them, like you said, it forces them to make those rash decisions, those impulse decisions in a split second and crash out.
yeah, that's a fact. I feel like the collective tunnel vision, like we have to focus on what truly matters. Um, a lot of times we are more concerned with how to flex on each other and how to kind of and it's all I want us to have the most confidence and have the most resources, right? But
Right.
I think we need to really look at it as a collective group, really look at like what we can do for ourselves as a collective group so we can move forward. Because if we're not on the same page, it's always going to be it's always going to be a conversation about, oh, this person should do this because they're in this position, right?
Yeah.
This person's successful, they have these resources, why are they not doing this for the black community? Or you know instead of us collectively coming together and figuring out what we can do for our people. um
I
and
think
then,
that's really tough. I think the thing that I'm always invested in, is the Black community, right? And how we function and set up community within what's happening in the world and what's happening in this country, because our experience is very unique as far as like we are here and this is ours, but we don't belong here. Like we built it, but this shit is not ours. So the way that we function is kind of very unique, I think. And I think that we have lost unity with each other. And I do think that I always feel crazy, like I'm exasperating the gender wars or something. But as a woman who has experienced a lot of hurt at the hands of men, it makes it difficult for unity and to come together. And I always say, like, the issue is that we can't have the conversation. We can't hold space for each other. We're trying to move on and just be like, oh, we gotta unite. You like things are going down, and it's like, no, but we're hurt. And last time we tried to unite, y'all was abusing us, and messing with white women and stuff. And I know we're not supposed to care about that, but that is hurtful. So it's kind of like for me, I see the emotional intelligence as understanding the pain points and having the difficult conversations before being able to move forward and get on the same page of how we think. And I just wanted to know your reaction to that, because I feel like it's a no brainer if you're, and I could be way off base because I'm like radical and crazy about it at this point, but my thing is like, how can you move forward without that repair of conversation, the acknowledge of hurt and the acknowledge of where things have gotten abusive and gone off the rails, and women don't feel safe enough to unite and move forward. For me, it's an emotional intelligence thing for us to attune to each other and start to have those conversations. But am I missing the mark there somewhere? And it's like the emotional intelligence kicks in where it's like this is not going to be solved, and these conversations lead us nowhere. So let's just move forward because we know we need to unite and get things done. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you have any reactions?
so I think that there's a lot of, so this kind of goes back to self-awareness. I think like the accountability piece, vulnerability, and having those difficult conversations, like being able to have those conversations That's something that me and my wife, I so we've been together for 15 years. We've been together since sophomore year.
Since you were 15,
Nah,
the math ain't mathing, sir. Yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
Playing the sound abuse.
I I think we've grown together. We've been blessed to grow together, but also just have those difficult conversations over the years. There's some things that I've had to work on, and um, being receptive to feedback without my without feeling like my ego is under attack.
Yeah,
I I have an ego. I'm a human
I'm
being.
very sorry. Me too. This is a safe space.
Yeah, I feel like I've had to my wife has checked me on things, right? And it's not in a disrespectful, belittling way. It's more
In a
so,
help me kind of way.
yeah. I think delivery, definitely helps have the conversations. Um, some people go to therapy. Some people have an outside party that weighs in, like a neutral perspective. Me and my wife, I would say, are blessed to have that communication, understanding to have those difficult conversations in the past. No relationship is perfect by any means, but I definitely think like our ability to put our emotions to the side, or kind of not put emotions to the side, but our reaction to our emotions.
Yeah,
We've been able to navigate that space, and that's why I feel like emotional intelligence has been such a big help to just my relationship. I feel like um, having those difficult conversations, not getting in my feelings to the point that I'm not willing to listen and grow and build and improve, but also just being able to coexist, right? Like two
yeah,
individuals come together. Um, if there's something that I need to unpack with my trauma, if there's something that I'm doing that is hurtful or um, disrespectful or crosses a boundary, I think having the having the wisdom to take input, right? How could I
mm,
have done this differently? How could I approach this differently? And that applies to parenthood too. Like those same tools
oh
of
yeah,
patience and wisdom have definitely been paramount in my the way I handle being a dad. And I think
yeah,
those two things are more closely related than people even think about,
oh
because
yeah,
you're dealing with another human being, whether you're dealing with a child or you're dealing with your partner. I think it's like you two are two individuals with your own individual thoughts, your own individual habits, impulses, and coming together and trying to find um, a way to compromise and respect each other while still validating your own feelings and emotions. I feel like that's the best way to have a healthy relationship, the best way to move forward. And once again, like
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure my stuff out, right? So it's like, it's by no, I'm not speaking from a place of like, I have it all figured out. It's more so like
Oh
things,
yeah, we can tell. Like the humility is great because it's that feeling of if you do this work and you're putting this out there, trying to help other people to heal, you always feel self conscious about it. Like I ain't got it right.
yeah, yeah, it's more so like,
No, we totally understand that. That's what the podcast is about. Like we
yeah,
tried, we all tried. But I did love what you said about like let's just look at what was done before and how it can make it better. That gave me some insight on how to go about these conversations in a way that's less like foaming at the mouth and more like look at these movements, the Black Panther movement, look at the movements that we've had before when we needed to unite and overcome these things. Look at what went wrong, what broke those systems down, and how do we move forward and fix them. And that's kind of a different angle than going, I'd be like, oh, yeah, this and this is why. So, okay, I'm learning. Look at
nah, I hear that. I also think that once again, when I think about just working in the population I work, is
me. Yeah.
it's so common to see, you know, single. It's so common to see parents not together. It's so common
Uh,
to see that division within the household, um, and you look at our folks. We look at our folks, and we look at the trauma that we've endured, the generational, the things that have been passed down, right? Even down
Yeah,
to the way that we handle the hurt, the pain, right? The
Yeah.
way
yeah.
we, as the way as men, we push it down, right? I was taught to push that
What? No way. Y'all don't do that.
down. Big surprise there, right? But like the toxic aspect of it versus like drawing that line, right? Like there's a
Yeah,
certain boundaries that like as men, like yeah, it's okay to shed a tear, but you have to, there's like a certain balance of pulling things together so that you can be emotionally available yet still resilient to lead and be there for others, to be that rock for others. And it's a tricky dance, right? It's a tricky dance because like as men, of course, be emotional, all the emotional stuff, right? We either hold it to our chest, or you have instances where it's like overly emotional can lead to very negative displays and very inappropriate ways of handling it when it comes to just the way we interact with our families and our loved ones.
yeah,
And the same thing is true for women. I think that we both handle our traumas in different ways, and there's work to be done on both sides. But at
yeah,
the end of the day, no one's intent should be to harm or hurt the people around them. And I feel like being aware of how we can subconsciously have a negative influence on people around us, or how we can project our stress and our own issues, that is the key part of self-awareness. And
yeah,
that's why that self-work is, it can be so hard, because we might not be able to see the full picture. Like I've had to unpack a lot of things, and I have a lot of friends and family and people that I've known that haven't really been able to find the right therapist for them, or haven't been able to find the
yeah,
right help. I I know people who can't afford therapy, and
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your advice to people who can't afford it?
I think with or without therapy,
Don't
and
say Chat GBT. I will
no,
kick you off the show, sir.
no, no,
You will be
this is an AI free answer. No. I think that, and this is from a person who's been open to therapy, but I haven't. I mean, I haven't gone. I'm open to it.
really.
Yeah, I haven't gone. I'm open to it, and I think that I'm still, there's some self work that I've been doing that I think that a therapist can, I don't want to say confirm, because I'm not I'm not a therapist myself, but I'm saying I'm open to it, and I'm open
Yeah,
to speaking to someone. But I think
yeah.
with or without therapists, or with or without that support, there's still self work needs to be done, right? Because a therapist can,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
you got some anger management issues you need to resolve. You got to work on this. You have this trauma that you have, that you kind of suppress, right? But if I'm not willing to do the self work, it's like me knowing I have a cold, but I'm not doing anything to, what I'm saying,
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, logic on it
that's
though, man.
exactly the issue.
Yeah.
Imagine getting therapy from a racist Chat
like,
GPT
hey,
bot. That's what I'm just like. This is not. I'm appalled by where we're going with this, but I think you should go to therapy because I'll just say that there's so many different ways, and you know this, that we can use therapists. And for me, right now where I am, my therapist validates the work that I'm doing. It's just someone that bounces off like, okay, yeah, that and supports me through that work. So it's almost just like having someone who's just like, yeah, you're on the right track.
hmm,
And as a person who gets like the same way, like I don't know anything, I'm just trying to do what I'm called to do. She talks to me a lot about how I am hard on myself, and sometimes I lean into holding myself too accountable, and I can't, and I get rigid about making sure. So I think it would be really cool for you to go. It might just, I don't know. I'd be curious to see or interested to see how you liked it if you did. But I mean, congrats to you on the work that you are doing and
thank
your
you.
calling and in
Absolutely.
the community. Like
Absolutely, man.
that's huge, and we keep saying like y'all don't build houses or nothing. What you mean when I bring so it's really nice because this is what we want. We want, like, as a woman who is struggling to stay soft and not be bitter about the state of our community and where we're going, and watching Black men suffer, it is heartbreaking. And I had to step back and just be like, let them figure it out. Let men figure out what they're going to do for their mental health, what their healing looks like. So it's just great to see, like, Lou is a reminder, Logic is a reminder. It's great to see you are a reminder that there are men doing the work, and I understand how hard it is for men to do this work when everything in your environment is leading toward, you ain't gotta do no work. You the king. People are gonna do what you say and what you want. You run this. You ain't gotta fix nothing. So yeah, to be able to, I think emotional intelligence is to be able to juggle both. Like, you have the imagery with you in the crown. It is royalty work. It is, you have dominion, you have responsibility, you have power, but also you have to constantly balance it so that you're not power tripping. And I think that's like the key that holds it together. And it's tough. Like, I don't even make it all the time. Sometimes I'm like, bow down then, everybody. But we're working on it.
And I hear that. I hear that. I think I think that just in general, like the amount of healing that needs to be done on a grand scale,
Yeah.
that's a perfect place to start because it's not like it removes the blame from anyone. It kind of helps us look at of what the root is and
Yeah.
how we can start with a solution. And a lot of hurt within the community, and hurt people as we know.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we might not even be aware how much we might hurt other people,
Yeah.
and that is that's such a telling piece about just the state of everything right now because
Yeah.
we may not realize the damage or the magnitude of our actions yet. And sometimes we don't realize it until it's too late. So I had like a subtitle for the Keep Calm book when I first published it. I had to keep reminding myself like this is why I'm doing this. It's to teach kids emotional intelligence, but like it's like why kids be like why it's important. And the main phrase is like we need to think before we act. Like it's that simple. Like we need to think before we act. And it's easier said than done, and it sounds so like simple, right? Um, I think that is a simple concept, but it's not an easy task. And I think that's
No.
the root of the self work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to me being a parent because I just think like stress, right? We're living a very stressful time, and news is overwhelming. You never know what's going to be in the headline next. You're like, oh, what do you do now? Like it's like it's a
Yeah.
it's
It's like Iran. Okay, what can I do about that? I still need to go to the grocery store.
so we catch ourselves in this loop of doom scrolling. We get caught up in the loop, the negative feedback loop, and we're constantly on an emotional roller coaster, right? And don't even, I even bring up like the just being an adult, right? Being an adult, bills, financial stress, all the things that come with just existing in a capitalist world. So I say all that to say that the way I handle my stress is so key because if I don't handle my stress in an appropriate way, my wife can pay for that. My son, they feel that the impact of that, right? And then I might go about my day like, oh well, I was just a little stressed out today. I was just a little stressed out, but I may not realize that, you know, I may have, you know, I may have said something, or and these are just more subtle things. I'm not talking about anything like egregious. It could be the little
Yeah.
things, the little interactions, right? And
Like
Right.
coming home with an attitude and being impatient, that kind of thing.
yeah, it's just like the little things, and the little things that kids may pick up on, or that may impact the people around you. So I think it's so key to do the self work so that I can think before I act, and I hope that that's a snowball effect. And that's why I hope is, that becomes something that's prevalent within families, because the family impact is so crucial. It's so, like, the way the parents operate affects how the students operate. The way the students operate, and it trickles down. And I feel like if you start from the root and we do that work, the self work, then we can do the family work. If we do the family work, we can do the community work, and
Mm.
so forth. Like, it starts from there, because I can have my mentality and I can be very emotionally intelligent, but my next door neighbor might not have that same may not have that same mentality. He may perceive something or may read something wrong socially, or he might have a stressful day, right? He might
Hmm.
not know how to deal with that, right? And all it takes is two people being in the wrong place, wrong time, being in a situation where emotions can run high, and it can be a decision that impacts everyone involved, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I've had students in these situations. I've had family members in these situations, and um, it's just, the world is already a crazy place. We have to make sure that we create a safe space for ourselves, and that starts with the people that we're around the most. Um, it's so crucial to.
Fucking
Yeah,
hate.
yeah, I appreciate it. And that's
Uh,
how it goes. That's how it goes. That's
so I'm literally like fighting back tears. 'Cause I'm trying not to get emotional, but it's just, it is so good to see other people doing the work. It's harm reduction work. It's literally just the work you do to put less harm in the world. And it's just, it's moving. And then here come logic. With the cliff. And I'm like,
that was perfect.
in my
That was perfect.
that was
That was perfect.
it's
Perfect.
like logic strikes again. Thank you, because I was all in my feelings about to lose my lash. So I don't, I can't stress enough how important it is and how alone it feels, to actually really want to do it and really want to, I guess, have impact on others who are on the journey. So it's just very validating to like talk to you. Be like, there are people out here who really understand that how we show up has such an impact. And in this day and age, we have influencers and blah blah blah, but the influencers are us every day, and we have a deeper impact even because people aren't even aware of how it sits on them, how we show up. So I am just
Definitely,
I'm
definitely.
speechless.
Praise and salutes to you, brother, for doing the work that you are doing, man, and and helping the community. Real,
I
for real.
appreciate it.
So definitely, definitely salute you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thank
This
I
you.
is
mean,
heavy, yeah.
yeah, just knowing that, what I'm saying, that fortunately for myself, I was able to grow up in a two-parent household, what I'm saying, and things of that nature. But at the same time, I was one maybe out of a circle of what could have been like 10 friends. You know what I'm saying? Out of 10, a circle of 10 friends, it could have been maybe two to three of us who lived in a two-parent household.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I you know what I'm saying, I'm not saying I know what that's like, per se to say I've lived it, but what I'm saying, I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it firsthand, you know what I'm saying, in situations with a lot of friends growing up and things of that nature, man. And I see how it affects our community badly. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. And it's a lack of resources come from it.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, how the cliche goes that a woman can't raise a man, and then you have all these arguments and debates, and so the women is like, well, look, I know I can't raise a man, but I'm doing the damn best I can. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I'm working with what I can. And
Yeah,
what I'm saying, the respect doesn't get shown for them and things, you know what I'm saying, the things of that nature. So for you to step in and be in the role that you are affecting, and you know what I'm saying, and putting back into the community and in those lives and showing them that, so they can tap into things that are within themselves to help them be better than their situation, man. I commend you and I respect you for that, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Real, real talk.
I was also blessed to grow up in a 2 parent household, and I I think that there were still things that like still things that I might want to change up from how they did things, but it's
Oh
not
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
it's not.
especially if
Absolutely.
they were baby boomers.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away from them.
Baby
They did a great
boomers
Absolutely.
just
job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did a great job, and it's not to take anything away from the current parents, right? Because everyone is doing the best that they can. Um,
Right.
I think that as far as like resources and how we can bring more people together, it comes down to just basic things like community, like customer service, like the way we support each other in our businesses, the way that like you were talking about showing up, the way we show up. I feel like
Yeah.
that is such a crucial thing too, because our interactions with each other are can be,
trash.
yeah, like we
And
the
we've
way.
made it like our I love us and our sense of humor, but we just don't. It's whittled away at how we treat each other. And I'm like, I do not like this. You want to roast on social media? There's this thing with women, fun shade. Like I'm throwing shade at you, but it's fun. No, you're not about to talk to me crazy. If you're my friend, you shouldn't be making fun of me. Like we've lost what it is. I said on Threads today, we've lost what it is to respond to bids of connection when people are trying to be cute or fun or flirty or just have a conversation. We're like, why are you talking to me? And that's just basic humanity 101. And I hate it. I hate it so much. And it is a lack of emotional intelligence because even when I'm having a bad day and I don't want to attune to people's emotions because it's overwhelming, if I'm out somewhere and I can sense like someone elderly or something wants to strike up a conversation, they just want to talk. What does that give of my energy to not give them that? I can't smile and just say hello or take my earbud out and have a little conversation. And in the back of my mind, I'll be like, I do not want to talk to you. But also, you want to talk and I can give this and this is free and that's okay. And I think it's those little things that we become so individualized and all about, this is for me and this is my boundary. But some things are like, is that a boundary or is that you just blocking people from having any access to your goodness at all? And do we just not know how to interact with each other in a way that we create safety? And I think, yeah, that all that shot to hell is disappointing. But
Yeah, no, it's actually crazy you say that, because I think about back to like the little things interaction, right? Like me being polite, or me some because like I'm very guilty of not like small talk. Like like if I see something, like I might not really be in the best
no,
state.
no, 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 you're rude on the streets. We
I've
run into you like, get away from me.
I've had to do that self work and like self reflecting. Like, you know what? Like I can't I can't be like that. Like even if I may
Yeah,
not, like I can give them something. I can't be, because you never know how your interaction might be a positive impact on someone's day, right? It might be like the best interaction. They might like, I really need that. Like
yeah,
so I try to like step outside that, and I have to do that. I have to check myself. Like, hey, like it's more so like I can I can treat everyone grace. I can take a moment to do the little things, because I don't know how it can impact or be a light to someone
yeah,
else, right? And I think that is so key, because like even being polite, right? I heard somewhere that when you're polite to someone or polite to a stranger, it automatically makes them a little more at ease, because something about being polite makes people feel safer. And I was, and
yeah,
that really sat with me, because I'm a polite person, but think about when you open the door for someone, and you hold the door open for someone, they just walk through, right? They don't even act like you exist. You might feel like, ah,
I
damn.
will punch you in the face.
Yeah, like that's like that stings a little bit, right? But like you don't have to take it personal, but it's more so like if the person does take the time, I'd be like, yo, thank you, right? Or they might just appreciate or recognize something, or not take it for granted. That little interaction might, you never
Yeah,
know like what that could do for your day, or for your mental, or for your attitude. And back to the customer service thing, if people might be having bad days, right? If someone has an attitude with me at the drive through, I'm not really gonna sit there and be like, you know what, like why are they talking to me like this? I mean, you shouldn't tolerate and disrespect people talking to you crazy,
right.
but in those moments, I
But they
try not
making your food, so they get.
right. I try not to take it personal. You know, if they're not in my personal space, they're not like a threat to my safety, or you know, they're not doing anything that's like violating. You know, if they give me a little attitude, I might be like, you know, at first my ego might react to it, you know, right? And that's
Well,
where
you
thinking
got
before
it.
we act comes into play, because I could be like, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not that big of a deal. Depending on the nature of what they're doing exactly for you, like no one should have to sit through a bad customer service experience if they have a waiter or waitress, right? Someone that's trying to get a tip. But you know, you use discernment in different situations, and different circumstances have different ways to react. But I think at the end of the day, living by that, like that was actually an acronym that I used when I worked in the mental health field. A Q-tip, quit taking it personal, and that has helped me with so many situations, because I'm like, yo, wait, this ain't about me. I'm making this about me, but really, like, I don't know what this person dealt with in a day, right? And once again, like,
Yeah.
it could be any type of violation, but if it's someone giving you a little bit of attitude, um, it's not, it's unfortunate, but but
Hmm.
people be dealing with stuff, and we never know what people are dealing with. So it's just like treat everyone with grace. You know, you don't want to trigger anyone, but
Yeah.
also just know that everyone has their own whirlpool of emotions, trauma, what they dealt with that particular day. So it's just good
Yeah.
to really like be
Be
cognizant,
easy.
and that helps us be nicer to
Yeah.
other people. Like, you know, and you never know how it might
Yeah.
impact, or you know, how your patience might help someone else.
For sure.
I agree. I love it. I. Yeah, I just want to sit and cry, but that's not appropriate for entertainment purposes. So we'll go ahead and close out. And oh my gosh, like I would love to just collaborate with you, work with you in the future. Like, yeah, because I think what you're doing is good, good stuff. And I do want to know like where you'll be next. I mean, as far as are you performing anywhere? Are you doing any workshops anywhere? Like, what's going on?
Um, I have so I'm performing at this show called Tell a Friend to Tell a Friend. It's like an art show
Okay.
slash performance showcase. I'll
Okay.
be performing there July 12th, and I can, you know, send that info out. But
No, I have a show that day. You can't. No, I'm kidding. Yes, share that information when we
yeah,
post
yeah,
it.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But I will be around the city. I actually just got back in town from the West Coast, but I am getting ready to just really like I'll probably just be out plugging my books, going to open mics and things like that. That's like the that's like the first, I guess, like bigger show I would say is coming up. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, you know, I'm just trying to wherever I can speak about emotional intelligence, any events, or just like spaces where, you know, I can push that message. And also,
Yeah.
I've been one more plug. This book, The Mind. This is another book I was inspired to write, and it's a fictional book. This is actually about, it's a story of five inner city kids who use their superpowers of emotional intelligence to halt the school to prison pipeline. And I'm trying to get this on the big screen. I'm going to manifest it. So, you know, one day I will see this on the big screen. But it's a comic book pretty much that highlights um, five key superpowers. So the superpowers are
Mm.
patience, confidence, self awareness, motivation, and courage. And I chose those five superpowers because there's a lot more, but I chose those five main superpowers to show how these particular students, how they were successful in the classroom, and how they were able to overcome their emotions so that they could flourish in an academic environment. And I think I wanted to put the story together just to get like an entertaining way of getting kids the message. And I think it would have an even
Yeah.
bigger impact on the big screen. But I say all that to say that as adults do the work, we can teach kids the work, right? So it can be a system. I feel like it's more than
Yeah.
just like teaching the kids. Adults can be teachable too. Um, we're still sponges to information, and we can relearn things, right? We can work on ourselves, and we teach ourselves if we really truly want to do that self work. We can do that so we can be
Yeah.
better parents, and we can lead by example. Because you know, a lot of kids are looking to social media for role models. They're looking to different spaces to learn how to interact and to learn how to
Yes.
act. And that's
Yes.
it's a scary sight if you're looking at where society might be headed. So I think
It's
that,
it's terrifying actually. It's super
yeah, to say the least.
dystopian. Yeah.
Yes, I think that the work is it's perpetual. It doesn't stop. And as I continue to work on myself, I want to continue to just try my best to share my gifts with the world, like regardless if it's through books, art. A lot
Yeah.
of people make music, um, but I feel like there's a lot of just noise out there. No offense to to any artist that may just be like just making
You
music.
said what you said.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I understand. I just think that there's so much power in the forms that we put our messages in, right? So whether it's like a fictional story like this, whether it's in a nonfiction book that teaches kids the basic skills, or whether it's through music, um, shows, programming, movies, right? There's so
Yeah.
many different ways to convey a message, and
Yeah.
now is now is one of the most important times. Like, there's no better time than now to really put a message somewhere so people can really get something from it. And I think that's where we're at right now. Like we desperately need that shift. And it starts with the programming. It starts with what we see, what we hear, and what our parents do. You know.
Yeah.
Is any of your music on like streaming platforms and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. All my music is on Apple Music, Spotify, all that.
It's under superficial.
Yes, sir. Yep.
I
And I
appreciate it.
produce all my own music too. I make all my own beats. I actually started production before I started writing my own music, and I felt like I just had a
Yeah.
lot to say. I had a lot to get off my chest. So I was like, you know what? Let me have on some of these beats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You have been so gifted with so many talents. Like the calling is high. It's
thank you,
like
thank
that's
you.
intense. Yeah, that's amazing because it's like you get to produce your own album, you get to write your own lyrics, and then you get to design the cover and then come up with the concepts for the videos. Like it's lit. You're a
I,
powerhouse. I love to see it.
I believe I was blessed. I would definitely believe I was blessed, and I I feel like over these past few years, it's really hit me how I'm being used as a vessel, and I think it's just no coincidence that things have happened the way they have happened in my life, because it's been preparing me for these moments. And by these moments, I mean just opportunities to speak about emotional intelligence, speak about things that can help our community, but still, I can still deliver things in an entertaining way. So hence the music, the
Yeah.
art. Um, so I try to bring it all. I try to bring it all, and there's so many different ways that I can share these gifts with everyone. So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it touches the right ears, and you know it plants the seeds, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not only about me. It's about there's people out there. There's so many more me's out there that can help spread this message and help spread this word and make this impact.
Yeah. I
For
mean, you're
sure.
doing the work. Blessings to you and your family
Thank you.
and all of your calling and everything you got going on. It's been an honor to host you. Yeah, I'm just smiling. Like, look at this. The concept is everybody can't go. And I'm like, look, this nigga can go.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
We
Thanks for having me.
appreciate you. Make sure you follow Superficial on all platforms. I know you're on Instagram. It's super underscore official. And then you have Superficial Planet LLC. But I mean, you know what you're doing. So when you follow you on Instagram and look at your link in bio, everything that you do is there. And that's just good branding and marketing. That's just what we supposed to do. So make sure that y'all follow. Make sure y'all follow Superficial. Make sure that y'all keep up with what he's got going on, and hopefully we can connect and do some work together. Me and Lou are getting into more community work, and sometimes I'm called in to do like stuff in schools. And yeah, I would love to have you just be like, oh, I can't do it. Superficial coming to talk about emotional intelligence, like very cool stuff, very good work. Thank you so much for coming. And this has been episode 9 of the Everybody Can't Go podcast. But we're not saying that. We don't need the shotgun. We're not Harriet Tubman. Superficial can go. Come on.
Make sure you appreciate that.
Anyway, of course. Thank you all, and to all a good night.
All right, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
You're probably somewhat familiar with the industrial prison complex and mass incarceration. Over 1 million people are locked up in the U.S. right now. We live in a society that punishes the poor and mentally ill instead of addressing the root causes, because that would be bad for business. You've probably heard of the school-to-prison pipeline, policies that funnel black and brown kids into the criminal justice system for bad behavior. You can understand how minority students are at risk of checking out mentally as early as middle school. These are facts, y'all. I've seen it in real time. You got children from poor backgrounds and underserved communities with a lack of basic resources, living in food deserts where families don't have access to proper nutrition. You got a high crime rate, drug abuse, emotional disturbances, untreated mental illness. So what does this look like in school? It should be no surprise when we see trauma, aggression, anxiety, a constant state of fight or flight. You gotta equip these kids with mental tools. We need more culturally competent staff who understand this crisis, more funding to compensate and retain them for all that they do, more therapeutic services, and more social and emotional learning in school to help these kids heal. Now, will this end corporate greed, dismantle white supremacy, stop implicit bias, and put an end to discrimination? Hell no. But it's the first step to mentally empowering ourselves. We're in a crisis that impacts the future of our people. The shift starts with the mind. Using superpowers of emotional intelligence and self-control, we can teach kids to master their thoughts and recognize their potential. We can put an end to the pipeline and break the cycle. Let's get it.